And welcome back. This is your man Warrior. This is another patron roster review, and this is Ardnew.etat from Tempered Knights. You are wanting to look at arena, just basics in your arena team, and then territory war effectiveness. Now, when you say that, I know that there's a lot of team potentials that you can focus on, but I'm going to give you kind of a top 5 list of things you should really do in territory wars to make you very effective, and then also some potential like teams for defense or offense you should kind of take a look at based off of your development and where you're at. Now for arena, you're actually running the team I would suggest for what you have in development. Those are actually your top 5 characters. Now the top 5 characters are good. You have no tank, and unfortunately on defense with no tank, people will decide to take out who they wish to take out. So that is the downside to not having a really powerful tank like General Kenobi or someone in there. But Jedi Training Rey, you've got her pretty well developed. You've got her leadership ability. You're going to actually want to focus on a critical chance set and a critical damage set with 2 things you're going to focus on in secondaries. You want a lot of offense secondaries, and you want as much speed secondaries as you can. Now, the same is going to be true with Commander Luke Skywalker. You're going to want crit damage set, crit chance set, offense mod secondaries, as well as speed secondaries. Now, if those 2 characters aren't that fast, that's okay, because the next 3 characters need to be fast, with BB-8 being the absolute fastest of all of yours. He looks pretty good, but you need to go through and filter for speed, filter the highest speed to the top, lowest speed to the bottom when you're managing a mods, and you need to put the absolute fastest 6 mods on BB-8 that you have in your entire inventory. This is really important if you're going to climb, because you've got to get BB-8 going fast. Now, the second fastest should be Admiral Thrawn, and basically both of these tunes, don't worry about sets or anything. All you worry about is speed on these 2. You literally want your number 1 set and number 2 set of fastest and second fastest to be on BB-8 and Thrawn. Now, because you don't have a whole lot of speed, you're not going to be able to make multiple characters really, really fast. And so because of that, I'm not going to have you really make your R2-D2 fast, although a lot of people do focus on a fast R2-D2. Instead, I would suggest you make him very, very tanky. Use health and defense and tenacity sets. If you have them, those 3 sets are great. You could use 3 sets of tenacity, or 3 sets of offense, or 3 sets of defense, or 3 sets of, health, like you kind of have here. You got sets of health. That's okay. But you want to focus on your secondary stats with as much protection secondary as you possibly can. And then if you can find some speed secondaries to add to him as fast as you can make him with secondaries, do that. Now, once you have those 5 remodded and whatnot, you should be able to do well. The second thing is you really need to make sure you're doing all 5 battles a day. Now, once you get all of your arena team remodded, you also want to think about some of the Zetas. Your Grand Admiral Thrawn, BB-8, and R2-D2, and Commander Luke are probably sufficient, but you do want to take a look at Rey if you're going to continue to run her as lead to finish her out. At a minimum, get her Insight Zeta done as well. However, I have to say, for a free-to-play for a year and a half with 1.5 million, you're right on track as far as development goes. A completely free-to-play account. Things are looking pretty good, and you've done a decent job making sure you're focusing on what's truly important with a free-to-play account. Now, as far as territory wars, there are some teams that through your development, you're going to probably want to use more on offense, and some that you'll want to probably more use on defense. Let's talk about offense first. So if you decide to use bounty hunters in territory wars, you're going to want to make sure that you use them on A, offense, and B, that you really specifically target a weaker team that you know these guys are going to be able to chew against. The good news is bounty hunters fight above their weight class, so to speak. They're able to, like droids, really do a lot more damage and have a lot more synergy than some other teams that might have some better gearing. So you'll be surprised at how far these guys can go to taking things out. And just like I mentioned with bounty hunters, droids are the same way. Your droids can be utilized potentially in teams to take out teams that are much stronger. The only problem is right now you don't have a ton of droids, and the only droids you have, you're probably going to use on a resistance team on defense. For you, you could use Jedi on offense or defense, but on offense, you could potentially be able to actually, again, whittle away a particular team. Keeping in mind that a lot of your teams that are weaker because you're free to play, you could use as a secondary attack. For example, you could be what we call a cleanup crew, someone who goes in and cleans up all of those battles that have been done where a team has lost, one or two, and the person attacking just doesn't have any more in their tank to finish the team off. You could go in and finish off that team with these teams I am suggesting as well. And for Jedi, you've got General Kenobi and Bastila Shan. You've got Obi-Wan, Ezra Bridger, and Kanan have great synergy. You even have a 5-star Hermit Yoda and even Grandmaster Yoda now. So you've got plenty of really great Jedi you can start to focus on. And again, these guys would be great on offense to kind of clean things up or go against a slightly weaker team. And also Phoenix. Phoenix are actually a really good synergistic team for any time that you need to have a secondary kind of cleanup crew like we were talking earlier, or a team that is weaker, but Phoenix would work pretty well. Now, First Order should be a team that you utilize on defense because of the bonuses they get. They work really, really well on defense. The only thing you need to do to make this team really pop on defense is Kylo Ren unmasks Zeta. So make sure that you focus on getting his Zeta at some point after your arena team is taken care of. Also, resistance teams are great on defense, especially with Jedi Training Rey being in your arena team. Hopefully you'll have her remodded and she'll be much better on defense with R2-D2 and BB-8. You can also put characters such as Rey Scavenger or Finn, or you could put Finn and Poe Dameron together. At some point, you would want to develop out Poe and Finn anyway. They're a really great duo combination that you can eventually split off and make 2 resistance teams down the road, with Finn leading one of them and Rey leading the other one. Another team you'll probably use on defense is going to be a Rebel team, although you can use them on offense as well. I just noticed you have more development gear-wise, and you probably want to put your toughest teams on defense. So characters such as Biggs and Wedge, Commander Luke, R2-D2 with Obi-Wan, or Stormtrooper Han, those are really great combos. And then, of course, just an overall scoundrel team could be utilized as well, because you have Boba Fett, Han Solo. You've got actually lots of Han Solos, veteran smuggler, Chewie and Han, as well as Lando and whatnot. So this is a potential team that you could look at if you find you're not going to go with everybody for a bounty hunter team, or you're just afraid of using them on offense. You could kind of merge a couple of these rebels and scoundrels together into just a scoundrel team. Bigger than using Empire on defense or First Order on defense, or using your, rebels on offense, bigger than that, there are 5 things you should do in territory wars that will make you better in territory wars for your team. Number 1 is pick a team that's lower than yours. And when I say that, I mean gearing and mods. Actually look at those characters to look at their modding. You'll be surprised what you find. Some of them are well modded, others are poorly modded, and you really want to pick teams that are going to have poorly modded teams, so that way you can really slice through them. Number 2, the easiest way to pick teams lower than yours is to do mirror matches. They're easier to figure out. So if you have a team of rebels and you want to go against rebels, it's easier to really determine which team is stronger and weaker by the basis of looking at stats. So mirror matches are a really easy way for a free-to-play to figure out, is my team better than their team? Well, pick the same characters and see. Number 3 is 2 tanks on defense. Now, this is something you're not able to really do probably yet, but if you have a team on defense and you have at least 2 tanks, for example, First Order, on this team, if you were running First Order Stormtrooper with Kylo Ren unmasked, that would be a double tank First Order team. It really makes the defensiveness of your team skyrocket in comparison to a 1 tank or no tank team. Number 4 is any team that the AI is definitely going to mess up on defense, you want to use on offense. For example, droids. Droids are horrible on defense, but they're great on offense. Those are teams you want to make sure that you focus on and utilize yourself. Jedi work really well with the AI, so for a defensive team as well, Jedi are a possibility if you were to get them more developed. The only reason why I suggested Jedi for offense is where they're at development-wise for you. And number 5 for territory war effectiveness is talk to your team. Talk to them about where they want you. Do they want you to place everything on defense? Do they want you to place everything into offense? Do they want you to be a cleanup crew, somebody who goes in after some, certain people fail, for you to clean up those teams with 2 or 3 characters so you can take in a full team of 5 to clean that up and get the maximum points for a subsequent battle? Figure out where you fit into your guild. I don't know where the Tempered Knights sit or how involved they are in territory wars, but some of the leadership there should have an idea of where they think they could utilize your roster better, either on offense or defense. From looking, I see you more as a cleanup crew individual or someone who goes primarily on offense, and allow other people that have a slightly heavier roster to be more defensive in nature. But you do have a few teams such as your Resistance, Rebels, or Empire, or First Order that you could set on defense on your side as well. So those are the things I would suggest for territory war effectiveness and for your arena. Now you're doing really well again for only being a year and a half in and free to play. You're right on track. I know the arena is tough because a lot of people have great mods, but you're gonna have to focus on mods. That includes potentially starting to mod farm or starting to slice the few good mods that you do have. As always, if anyone has any suggestions for Ardnew.etat, leave them in the comments down below, and keep your gaming on. Warrior out.